Now it's time to show you something a little more advanced. I'm going to show you how to make what's called a custom method. And before I show you that, I just wanted to show you the little project. I basically used the one we had before for Mr. Switch, and I just want you to focus in on the fact that I have changed the way the message boxes are handled here. They're going to look the same in here when we access this. Nothing has changed, but the coding, the way I did it, has changed considerably in terms of handling message boxes. Now here's the deal. When you have a event handler like this click event right here, the only time that any of this code is going to execute is when someone clicks on the button. That's what it's tied to or bound to. But there are many, many times when you have a block of code or a feature you want to add for yourself that has nothing to do with a control. And so what I decided to do here was to make a little block of code called a custom method that is going to handle all my message boxes for the whole form. So instead of typing msg, messagebox.show 50 times and all that kind of stuff, I'm going to just simply create one method called notify user, and I'm going to send it the actual message that I want it to use, and then it is going to create one message box. So there'll be one message box.show for my whole application. This really saves you a ton of time, and it's really sweet to do, especially for phone apps. So I use the same project, so the code is the same, so we're not going to focus on that. What we're going to focus on is how do you make your own little section of code that you can use or call whenever you want. Now notice what I did down here, how I made this. I just went down to a blank area of the form, and I just copied basically what they do for these event handlers, because the event handlers work just like methods. We call them event handlers, but they're treated just like a method, and a method is just an action. That's all it is. So I created one myself. You go down to a blank area of your form, it doesn't matter where you put it, and you type in the word private first of all to begin with, because I only want to use it inside this one form. Now if I had multiple forms, I might want to make that public. I then type in the word void. Now, when you see the word void, that just means that if this particular block of code is not going to return any answer to me. It's not going to tell me, did it work? Did it not work? Was there an error? It just means, hey, would you just please go out and run this block of code, do this for me, and just, I don't care what happens, just do it. It's like sending someone off to do a little job for you or to do a little errand. They don't have to come back and report how it worked out. They just do it. That's what void means. There are other times when you're going to put something in there other than void, but that's for a different day. Then you type in the name of this method or this block of code that you want, and I just call mine notify user. I use that in all of my projects. And then you'll notice in the event handlers, they have with them let me open this up a little bit for you. They have a set of parentheses after them because they are treated like methods, even though we call them event handlers. And there's stuff inside here, and I'll talk to you about that very soon, but not in this video. Well, in our method, since we have to follow the same rules, you also have to put in a set of parentheses right here. Now in these particular parentheses, what I want to do is I want to pass in to my method the actual message that I want the message box to use. Okay, and it's going to be a string. What do I mean by passing in? Well, let's take a look at how I use this. Up here, you'll notice on the switch, if they didn't type anything in, I used a message box and I said, hey, you got to enter this, and I showed them a little message box. Now I've commented it out so you can see it. That has been replaced with this. I'm going to say, I want you to go jump down to where Ron made this little block of code called notify user, and this is the message I want you to use when you make the message box. So I'm creating the message right here, and I'm passing it down to my little method through these parentheses. You can think of the parentheses as a little doorway, just like you're walking into a room. This is how you get information into this little block of code. Okay, I don't have to create a variable at the top. I don't have to do anything, just pass it in. This MSG, by the way, I just made up just to keep it simple, and it doesn't matter what you call this. This word right here, where it says MSG, does not have to match anything up here. It's just simply a placeholder. Okay? I could have called it X. I could have called it Y, and it would have worked fine. The only thing is, whatever you create here, you're committed to using that down here in this block of code. So when I say down here, messagebox.show, I want to use my little message I just passed in. I have to use MSG, otherwise it won't know what I'm talking about. If I change this to say X or W or hope, I'd have to use X or W or hope right here. These guys have to match. And then look, I use my MSG title again, so that saved a lot of hassle. Look how small my message box statement becomes and how simple it is, but more importantly, I only have one of these in my entire project. I only have one messagebox.show, so it makes it incredibly easy and incredibly flexible, and I would really encourage you to do that. And you're going to find that building these custom methods will be a big part of any app that you write in a real world application. Now let's check the other one. I did have another message box here somewhere, and that is the one where we said, oh, we're going to show them the state they chose and the sales tax rate. Again, this is what I did before with that, and I commented it out, 2 forward slashes, and I replaced it with a call. That's what we call this, a call to notify user. When I say call, that means that the computer is supposed to stop what it's doing for a second and jump down here, execute this code. It comes in here and does this, and then it comes back after it's finished, and it will continue right here. That's very important that you understand. Once these methods are finished, right down here, it gets right to this, the computer will jump back and say, well, what else? Is there anything else for me to do? And it says, oh yeah, I got to clear this and I got to set the focus. So just remember, when you jump down to this custom method or you call your custom method, it always comes back to see if there's more stuff to do. That's very important that you understand how it behaves. If you don't want it to do anything else, then you don't put anything here. You would get rid of that. Okay, and then it would just stop. But if you want more stuff, you do that. It keeps going. Okay, so I would really encourage you to learn how to do this. They're very cool. You can take this and put it wherever you want. If you want to move it somewhere else, I just highlight them and do a Control X. You can pop it in up here somewhere above your OK button if you want. Typically, for my custom methods, I keep them near the bottom because it seems to me that's kind of where they belong. And I always make my quit event handler the very last thing because that's the last thing somebody's going to do with their project. But the order of these methods and event handlers is up to you. I just try to organize them in a logical way that makes sense to me. And of course, I showed you before how to make regions. This would be a good thing to do for regions. You can make a region here and call it my custom methods, and you can put them all there. And then you come down here and you just mark this as the end of the region, and now you can close that up, make it very cool. Okay, so I just wanted to show you that because it's a really powerful. We're going to talk about classes and methods and stuff at a different point, but I just thought this would fit right in here nicely, and I wanted to show it to you, just kind of a little extra add-on. Okay.